What is up, you guys? In today's video, I'm going to walk you through the 5 biggest mistakes that I see woodworkers make when they make their first hire. Let's dive in. All right, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the podcast. As always, I'm so glad that you're here. And my name is Vaught. If you don't know me, I started, scaled, and sold my woodworking business that was doing over $70,000 per month. But I didn't start there. I really struggled out of the gates. I learned business principles that took our business to new heights. On this channel, I am sharing all those business principles with you, right? And so in today's video, I want to walk you through the 5 biggest mistakes that I see woodworkers making when they go to hire an employee. The typical journey of every woodworking business owner is that they start by themselves in their garage, and if they do have ambitions to grow it and make it bigger, they get to the point where they get overwhelmed. They have too much going on, then it's time to hire. And so I want to walk you through 5 mistakes that you can avoid. Here's the 5 biggest ones. Number 1, they hire too late. What do I mean by this? I mean that you are not hiring soon enough. You're getting to where you have crazy lead times, which means that if somebody were to come to you and place an order, it would take you forever and a day to get it to them. We definitely want our lead times to be longer when we go to hire, but we don't want them uncomfortably long. What do I mean by that? Well, let me give you some actual numbers here. So inside of the Woodworking Business Accelerator program, what we tend to focus on is we tell our clients that what you want to do is you want to get your lead times to around 12 to 14 weeks, and then it's time to hire. At 12 to 14 weeks, it's right on the edge of your lead times being so long that it's about to start hurting you with sales. But anything beyond that, you've waited too long to make a hire. A lot of guys, they wait too long to make a hire if they're growing rapidly. This is common, we see this, and so you want to prevent it by having a plan in place and getting ahead of the hiring curve, okay? And so number 1 is that they hire too late. Number 2 is that they only interview 1 candidate or maybe 2 candidates. One of the big secrets to making good hires is talking to lots of people. There have been times when we've made a hire inside of my businesses that we just were desperate, we needed to hire somebody, and we saw a warm body and we threw them in the game, right? If you've been in business any amount of time, you've probably have made that mistake, but one of the best things that you can do is interview lots of candidates. One of the things that we always try to do inside of our woodworking business when we were trying to make a new hire is that we would post the job, we would try to get 20 to 30 applicants, we would try to find our top 10, and then we would invite them all in for interviews on the same day. So from 8 a.m. to noon, every 15 or 20 minutes, we would have a new interview. And out of the 10 that we invited for interview, only 6 or 7 would show up, because that's typically about how it goes. But then I would have 6 or 7 people to pull from and judge against one another based on the quality of their responses, based on their demeanor, based on their experience, right? And I could make a better hire just because I had a wider pool of people to look at. So when it comes time to hire, don't just put all your eggs into one basket and it's like, okay, well, this is the only guy that I know to hire. Now, one of the biggest challenges that guys face is that when they're making their first hire, they're typically still in their garage or they're at home, and it's like this employee is going to be walking in your house to use the bathroom, right? This is one of the biggest things that guys really struggle with. So I would say you want to have 3 to 4 options of people that you know and trust that you could hire. Now, the other thing about this is that you don't have to jump immediately and hire somebody full-time. You could have a part-time guy. You can have 3 part-time guys. And you can hire multiple people part-time and find the best one and then eventually move them into a full-time role. So there's not a one-size-fits-all approach for hiring, but one thing I would encourage you with is don't assume that this is the only guy that's out there, they're the best option. You want to evaluate and talk to multiple people, but you definitely want to make sure that it's somebody that you can trust if they're going to be in your home or in your shop on your property, right? That's number 2. Number 3, they don't put the new hire on a trial basis, right? So one of the main things that we always did or we learned to do was that anytime that we would hire a new employee, we would make sure that they understood that the next 90 days is just a trial run. We're gonna see if we like working with you, we're gonna see if you like working with us, but there are no long-term commitments beyond 90 days. At 90 days, we'll check back in, we'll make sure that this is still a great relationship, and from there you can become an official employee, right? And so super, super important that you don't just immediately commit to giving them the moon and the sun and the stars, right? We wanna make sure that it's a good fit. We wanna see how they perform. We wanna see the quality of work. We wanna see how they handle correction, right? New employees, they're gonna do things wrong. wrong, you're gonna have to say, hey, appreciate it, but that's not quite how we do that. This is actually how we do it, and see how they respond. I've had employees before that were great until I said, hey, this is not up to our quality standards. We need to make sure that we do this. And then they snap at you, right? And it's like, okay, whoa, we can't handle correction. So you want to make sure that you're putting everyone on a trial basis, and that way you're free after 90 days or before 90 days, where you can just tell them, hey, sorry, this isn't going to be a great fit. We got to let you go. And so also, by the way, that's a super hard thing to do. One of the best quotes I ever heard was, be slow to hire and quick to fire. You want to really take your time in the hiring process. Also, why you probably want to start the hiring process a little bit before you need it, just to make sure that you're getting the best candidate, so you don't have to come back a week later or a month later or 3 months later and say, hey, sorry, this just isn't going to work. If you can avoid that, avoid it. Number 4, the fourth mistake woodworkers make when hiring is that they hire too early, or they hire for a role that they know nothing about. This one is huge. So let me give you a good example here, right? So like, let's say that you start growing your business and you've never touched a bookkeeping software a day in your life. You're like, well, I don't know how to run the books. I'm just gonna hire somebody to run the books. Well, that's your money, for one. Number 2, I believe that you should know enough about every area in your business to be dangerous, right? To be able to prevent somebody from coming in and doing a terrible job and you having no idea that they're doing a terrible job. I want to know, when I look at what somebody's doing in my business, whether they are doing a good job or not doing a good job, and know enough about the topic. I don't have to be the expert. They can know more than me, but I need to know enough about it to be able to say, that's not a good job, or that's exceptional, that's really good, right? So it's super important when you're going to hire that you don't hire for roles you don't know anything about. You need to do it yourself first. I truly believe that you need to do it, even if it's for a week, even if it's for a month, you need to do it, enough of it to understand it, so that when you make the hire, it makes sense, okay? And then when it comes to hiring too early, you need to make sure that you have the sales volume to support an employee, right? You need to make sure that, oh, I know that I've got tons of orders, that if I didn't take any more orders, I could keep this employee busy for the next 3, 4, 5 months, right? We want to make sure that we have enough volume so that when we hire, we're not hiring too early, so that a month from now, you don't run out of work and say, hey, sorry, man, I don't have any work for you. You got to go home. One of the biggest things that you have to realize when you start hiring employees is that you're now responsible for them. They're depending on you and your business and the revenue that you generate to provide for them, right? So there's a bigger weight, a big responsibility that comes with that. So you gotta make sure that you factor that in. Now, the other thing I'll say here is that a lot of people ask, okay, well, should I just hire them as an independent contractor, or should I hire them as a W-2 employee? Now, I would encourage everybody, when you first start off, if you are just starting off, you need to hire everybody as a contractor. Now, the IRS has rules and regulations and laws around whether somebody is classified as a 1099 employee or someone is classified as a W-2 employee. Now, if you're telling them when they need to be there, if they're using your tools, you're setting their schedule, they need to be technically a W-2 employee. The problem with that, though, is that you got to pay payroll taxes if they're a W-2 employee. If they're a contractor, you don't have to pay payroll taxes. So if you can give them, hey, I just need you to work 20 hours, I don't care when you come in, or you can take the work to your house and do it, then that falls underneath the standards and the qualifications of a 1099 contractor. But if it's like you're working these hours to these hours, you're gonna come and use our tools, then they're technically not a contractor anymore. They would be classified as a W-2 employee. But when you're first starting out, I wouldn't worry about that too much. Only as you start to grow and scale would I start making the switch from 1099 contractors to W-2 employees and paying that payroll tax, okay? Last one, fifth and final mistake here that I see woodworkers making when they go to hire is that they don't have clear roles established or training for the new hire, right? And so one of the worst things that you can do is hire an employee and they walk in, they're like, okay, what do you want me to do? And you're like, I don't really know. We want to have a really clear plan of action to make sure that they know what to do, they know how to do it. And here's the thing that you have to understand with hiring employees. Before you hired the employee, you were spending your time doing the work that they're now going to be doing, okay? So that's what you were doing before. A lot of people will hire an employee, plug an employee in, and then they'll completely remove themselves from that task and that role entirely and go find something else to do. For the first several weeks or even maybe first several months, what you should be doing is, instead of you spending that time doing the task, now you need to be spending that time overseeing the task. giving them feedback, giving them correction here or there. Oh, yep, this is almost exactly what we want, but we want to make this change, or we want to make that change, right? So we're no longer the ones doing the work with our hands. They're doing the work with their hands, but we're making sure that we're giving them really clear guide rails of exactly what they're trying to accomplish, okay? So hopefully this video was helpful. If you're in a place where you're considering hiring an employee or part-time employee, I would highly encourage you to probably do it. For most of people in the woodworking space, your job as a business owner needs to be driving revenue, right? That's the primary thing that you need to be doing. And so there's a lot of tasks like cleaning the shop, sweeping, staining, or assembling chairs, or taking the trash out. Those types of things can be delegated and can be given to a lower level employee along with training. You got to make sure you're training them, but so that you can focus more on the more critical aspects of the business. And so with that, some resources for you. Number one is my free ebook, the Handmade Business Secrets ebook. It's the first link in the description below. It's completely free to you. Just click on the link, enter your name and email, and we'll send that to you. It's about a 100-page read, and so you can read it pretty fast. It just outlines my journey of going from starting in my garage and struggling to $70,000 per month and selling my business, and how you can do the same thing. Number two is the Handmade Hero Academy program. If you are you're brand new to this game, trying to figure out how to create a woodworking business or side hustle, that's the number one resource I can recommend to you. It's a low cost program that's gonna really walk you through the business principles that I initially learned to get me to around $10,000 per month. And so you sell one piece of furniture from what you learn inside that program, it's gonna pay for itself, okay? And then lastly is the Woodworking Business Accelerator program. Listen, if you're watching this video, you're like, man, I'm trying to hire, I'm trying to scale, I'm trying to grow, I need more leads, I need more sales, I need systems. This is the program for you. The Woodworking Business Accelerator program is our flagship program. We're working with tons of people all across the world, helping them scale their woodworking business to multiple 5 figures and beyond. So if that is you, click on the link below, fill out the application. We'd love to connect with you and see if we could be a good partner on your journey to achieve your woodworking business goals. And so with that, love and appreciate you all. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do, and we'll talk to you in the next video.